first, we have to talk about the Metropolitan Police being hit with a fresh scandal over claims of racism and misogyny. This is following a BBC Panorama documentary which aired last night, showing shocking footage gathered in a 7-month undercover investigation during which a reporter worked undercover at Charing Cross Police Station in London. Now, of course, we have to say there's no suggestion this is representative of police officers across the board. And in fact, police are dealing with a really awful incident in Manchester right now in which 2 people have been killed and also the suspect. So there's a lot of respect for the difficult job that our police have to do. Having said that, you know, these are, you know, this is real footage of some really disturbing incidents. We were talking about this morning, Kelly. What was your initial reaction?
Unfortunately, I wasn't shocked. I don't think it was necessarily my reaction aimed towards the police in particular. I just think it's more a kind of highlight on society and conversations that are had maybe behind what we think is like closed doors and people are not privy to. And I think you have to kind of look at how you speak about people and how you conduct yourself generally. I'm sure we've all said things that you think, gosh, if someone saw that I'd said that or did that, you know, it would be taken out of context. So I'm not condoning what we've seen, but I think it's probably more common than we'd like to admit to be honest. Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Having said that, we have to have trust in the police. We have to have trust that the police, when a woman goes to the police and reports a sexual assault, or indeed a man goes and reports a sexual assault, or that people are going to be treated equally, regardless of their ethnicity, without prejudice. So, I mean, in the criminal justice system, that is so important. But I do get what you say. I think it's so easy for us to say, that's the problem of that organisation. The police have a problem. Or, you know, television has a problem. You know, and there have been incidents recently that have been very disturbing. I agree with you. I think we have to look to ourselves. There is a subsection, probably in every workplace and, you know, every organisation.
Yeah, I think if you put hidden cameras into not just the police, but into any organisation where there is a predominantly male base, and I do say that because I do think it would be different within a women's space. I think there would be some inappropriate behaviour in language, but I do feel that it's predominantly what they would consider banter. Yeah. However, I do, again, I agree with Kelly. I think that any of us in our private life, if we had hidden cameras and, you know, put into, would really have to take an inward look at ourselves. It's horrible. It is horrible to listen to that.
It is.
But the thing is, it's not just the police who don't believe women. You know, so many other people in society.
We have to say again, certain police officers.
Certain police officers. And again, you could say, you know, after the Sarah Everard case, you would think that they had learnt their lesson. You know, people are looking at their WhatsApp groups and all sorts of things. This was obviously over quite a long period of time. And again, we're in danger of sounding like we're condoning it and saying it's all right, but we weren't shocked. It's horrible to see it and hear it, but, you know, were you shocked? I certainly wasn't.
Were you, Mylene? What did you feel?
I just think accountability is key here because you're looking at public services and that's right across the board. We hear this in Parliament. We're very aware of how prevalent it is in the political sphere, certainly in TV, as you mentioned, and now you're talking about the civil service as well. Ultimately, what happens to the few that ruin it for the many? I think that is what's essential here, because if we let this behaviour go, that is unacceptable. However, there are so many people doing so many good things that's always overshadowed by this kind of behaviour. So my question is, how do we eradicate that? How do we allow that to keep on slipping through the net? What can actually be done? Because none of us are surprised. Nobody is surprised by misogyny or internalised misogyny, which so many women feel they have to behave a certain way to hold their place too. When do we stop all of it across all sectors?
Well, and that's I think that's a very interesting part of it. I mean, in terms of where do women fit into this, because sometimes women will be in a position where they appear to go along with it.
Well, the thing is as well, we've all got Instagram and we see
difficult.
There's some awful women out there as well, but I just, you know, that has always been down to the sort of male banter, and it's almost they feel that it's acceptable in certain situations.
I think if you're a woman working in a male-dominated environment, there is that element of you wanting to be, you know, maybe one of the boys and not be that person, you know, because we're so striving to have that equality all the time. And are we just, you know,
Well, we're scared of being
allowing
isolated.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be the narc.
No,
you don't
that's right.
want to
No,
be
you
the
don't
one
wanna
who
be the
doesn't have a
But we
sense
also
of
don't want to be
humour.
enablers to it, you know.
Exactly.
And sometimes I've walked out, I've heard things, and I've walked out of rooms and I thought, I have the power there to go in there and make sure that the girl after me doesn't have to listen to that, and I didn't do anything about it. And I've been guilty of that, and that I have to sit with that, and it's just not the way to do it. You've got to stand up.
But in my personal experience of dealings with the police, I've always had an incredibly positive experience and outcome.
And, you know, the chief of the Met, Matt Rowley, you know, has been at pains today. Obviously, he's been interviewed to say that they are doing their best. They're doing a lot to try and rout it out. They're saying we're partway into conducting what's already the biggest corruption clear-out in policing history, more robust than the Met has been historically, and relentlessly arresting and sacking officers and staff, with nearly 1,500 removed so far. So basically they're saying, we're on it, we hear you, we're doing something about it, but yes, we appreciate that we are absolutely not there yet. And certainly that BBC Panorama would prove that there is still a lot of work still to be done.